Welcome to my chunk locked account. I must complete every possible task in one specific square on the map before I can move on to a new chunk. It's time to experience everything old school RuneScape has to offer, one chunk at a time. Well, that was crazy, huh? I uploaded my first 2 videos to an empty YouTube channel, and you guys showed up in your thousands. I have so much to discuss and so many questions to respond to, and I'll get to that later in the episode, but first, what am I doing killing hobgoblins? I already got the spear. Well, as I briefly mentioned last episode, hobgoblins also drop the steel longsword, and well, I want it. Yes, the steel spear is technically better overall for DPS, but to be honest, I just kinda want the sword. There's something about killing things in robes that's making me feel nostalgic, and I want to embrace that with a steel longsword. It also means I can train my combat skills one at a time, because the spear only has shared and defense combat styles, and training them individually means I level up more often, which is good for the dopamine. Well, there it is. That actually took a little longer than I expected. I keep forgetting I'm such a low level with no armor, so they were just tearing through me. Anyway, nice, let's move on. And there's the bronze square shield to complete the look. Back at the rats, or rat, singular. I've been grinding these for a little while, so let me just show you where we're up to with a really over-the-top montage. We're making decent progress. We did the maths last episode, so we know how long this should take. All we can do is keep going and see how long it actually takes. I don't believe it. There is a potato here. You guys pointed it out in the comments and I almost didn't believe it at first. How did I miss this? That's absolutely crazy. How much XP does this give then? 15 XP. Okay, so it's half the XP of rat meat. Let's try out an inventory and redo the calculations we did last episode. We have to hop worlds every single time, so it's pretty brain rot. Okay, so we need about 200,000 XP, and these give 15 XP each. That means I'll need about 14,000 potatoes, taking burning some of them into account. That's about 580 inventories of potatoes. I timed that run, and it took just over 4 minutes to gather and cook them all, meaning this method should only take me around 40 hours to get 58 cooking. That saves us so much time. I can't believe I didn't see this one potato. Well, that didn't last long. I'm back with my buddy the rat. I know the potato saved so much time, but it was honestly so unpleasant to do. Not only that, but I have to kill a whole bunch of ogres after this, and I think the extra combat levels I get from killing the rat is going to be really handy. In fact, let's go do a test kill now to see how manageable it would be at this level. Okay, he's hitting me pretty hard. I brought potatoes as food, which wasn't too smart in hindsight, as they only heal 3 compared to the triangle sandwiches, which heal 6, but still, he's doing a lot of damage. My god, that took a long time. I really think I'm going to have to go do the rat method. So here we are then, full circle back at the rat. Another benefit of killing the rat though is prayer XP. By the time I'm level 58 cooking, I'm going to be right around 40 prayer, so that should come in handy when killing the ogres. A lot of you guys pointed out that low level prayers are not to be overlooked, especially since they changed the rate in which prayer points drain for those lower level prayers. And of course, it puts us one step closer to that 43 prayer, so I can just prayer flick the ogres. It's just going to make my life so much easier. All I can really do is carry on with what I'm doing. I might switch back to the potato now and again just to speed things up, but I think for most of it, I'm going to do it with the rat here. But I do want to get into some of your comments though. I genuinely couldn't believe how many of you watched the first 2 episodes, and so many of you are getting engaged in the series and leaving some really good suggestions. A lot of you suggested having a block limit, as you do with Slayer. You only have a certain amount of blocks available that you get to decide what to put it on. As I mentioned, for every 3 fully completed chunks, I unlock a new block, but some people are suggesting there should be a cap on how many I can have at one time. I like this suggestion. Not only does it prevent me from having a totally unreasonable amount of blocks stacked up if I get a really easy string of chunks, but it kind of forces me to use them if I'm getting close to the block limit. It just means I'll have to be more tactical about how I use them, and I'm all for that. So I'm proposing a maximum number of blocks available at one time to be set at 3. So once I get up to 3 blocks, I can't earn any more, I have to use them. On the topic of fully completed chunks, people were asking what defines a fully completed chunk. For example, what if I have a task that is backlogged because it's not completable right now? In chunk 1, I was physically unable to complete the Tower of Life quest as I had a construction requirement to start it. When I unlock a construction method at some point, the Tower of Life quest will become a task, it will be completable. So does the first chunk really count as fully completed even though it has a backlogged task? Yes. For the purpose of fully completing a chunk, I simply have to do all the tasks I was presented with when the chunk was rolled, so backlogged tasks won't be considered when determining if the chunk is fully completed or not. To put it simply, when I roll a new chunk, it will give me a list of tasks that I can complete in the account's current state. Once I complete those tasks, the chunk is considered fully complete for the purpose of unlocking new blocks. A few people also brought up the fact that the Imp Champion scroll should have been a task, and to be honest, I hadn't even thought of it. When I rolled the chunk, it never showed up as a task. Maybe that's something somewhere in the chunk picker settings, but I genuinely didn't even think about it. I'm curious what you guys think though. Should I make Champion Scrolls a task? If so, I'll make sure I go and get the Imp Champion Scroll, and I will get the Hobgoblin Scroll as well, and any future monsters that drop Champion Scrolls will be considered a task. Or is it just unnecessary to have that as a task? One question that cropped up a lot was some clarification on what would happen if I block a skilling task. For example, if I had a task to smith a rune plate body, and I blocked it, would it just knock the requirement down to the next level? So in that example, it would just make it so I had to smith a rune kite shield instead. The answer is no. If I block a skilling task, it blocks that entire skill as a task for that chunk. So I wouldn't have to smith at all in that chunk. That might sound overpowered, but the whole point of the blocks is to keep the series moving forward. At the end of the day, I know OneChunk is a familiar and well sort of done series on YouTube, but as odd as it sounds, I'm not trying to compare myself to the likes of, just throwing names off the top of my head, Limpwort and Verf. I mean, Limpwort is an absolute animal. He's doing it in such an extreme way. I don't want to compare myself to that. This is a different series. I've added these twists to try and progress things. I mean, I think it's fair to say that most people, if not all people's favorite part of these series is rolling a new chunk. People want to see it. They want to see what's next, what grinds are ahead. And the idea of this block system was just to kind of get us to that next stage sooner. I don't want to skip long grinds entirely. As you can see, I'm sitting here killing rats for 80 hours or more trying to get 58 cooking, so it's not going to totally kill the grinds, but I do want to just be making progress and uncovering the map in a way that's efficient and still entertaining, and I hope that's coming across. I'm trying to find a good balance here. Now, the biggest talking point that I asked for opinions on was whether or not I should block the curved bone task. There were some great arguments for and against blocking it. I guess when I'm deciding whether or not to block a task, there are a lot of factors that I need to consider. How many blocks do I currently have available? When will I be getting another block? What chunks am I surrounded by that I may want to use the block on? And will I end up getting this task again soon at some point in a different chunk? It's a tough call and I have to use them wisely. I have to get the longbone anyway, which could likely take hundreds of ogre kills, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For now though guys, that just about does it for this video. I know it's much shorter and there wasn't as much action in this one, but that's just the way chunk accounts go sometimes. I put a poll out on my community page. You subscribers would have seen it. If you're not subscribed, make sure to. Not only do you get notified of uploads and it will appear on your homepage, but I do post things on the community page where you will get to interact and make decisions along with me. I mean, we're all in this together. As you know, I'm brand new to this, so I do need your guys' help with making decisions and moving forward and what you guys want to see. You guys were pretty split. It wasn't quite 50-50. It was more leaning in the direction of people wanted more regular uploads regardless of the progress made. But there were a lot of you saying that you want me to hold back on uploads to make sure that we have a more fully action-packed video. So consider this video as almost a test. I want to see how you guys feel about it. Obviously, there wasn't as much progress in this episode, and that's totally understandable. If you still enjoyed it though, let me know. If you want to see more things like this, let me know. Or if you'd rather I just skipped all of this and waited until basically the chunk is complete and there's a whole ton of content and progress available in that episode, let me know. I truly don't know. That being said, I do want to start streaming now and again to be able to chat with you guys on a more personal level, so stay tuned for that. A link to my Twitch is on screen, it's in the description, and it's on my YouTube channel, so make sure you follow me over there for when I go live. Thanks for watching, see you all soon.